I was bleeding internally on a Tuesday night, staring at the ceiling of an ambulance, and the last thing I remember thinking was, if my kids end up alone tonight, it will not be because I did not try. My hands would not stop shaking. Blood kept soaking through the gauze they pressed against my side. I could hear the medic talking, calm and clipped, like he was reading weather. Possible splenic rupture, blood pressure dropping. I could smell antiseptic and metal. The siren howled like something alive. I grabbed my phone with fingers that barely felt like mine. One name mattered more than the pain. My mother. I tapped the family group chat first because it was faster than calling each person. And I wrote, I was in a serious car accident. I am going into emergency surgery. Please watch Mia and Miles for a few hours. Please. The message delivered. Then I called my father. It rang. Once. Twice. 3 times. He answered like I was interrupting dinner. Sienna. What is it? Dad. My voice sounded wrong, wet, and small. I need help. I was hit. I am in an ambulance. They say I might need surgery. The babysitter leaves at 8. Mia and Miles are home. Silence. Then I heard it. The muffled voices in the background. My mother sounding annoyed. My sister Blair laughing at something. Music. A clink of glasses. My father covered the phone, but not well enough. We are about to head out, my mother said. Tell her to figure it out. My stomach clenched. Not from the injury. From recognition. The line went quiet again, and my phone buzzed. A text in the family group chat. From my mother, Marilyn Ward. You have always been a nuisance and a burden. We have front row tickets tonight with Blair. Figure it out yourself. A second message came right after. From my father, Gordon Ward. You work in medicine. Hospitals do not scare you. Stop being dramatic. Then Blair, my older sister, sent a single sticker. A smiling face with hearts for eyes. That sticker floated on my screen while my blood pressure slid into the basement. I stared at it so long that the medic asked if I could hear him. I could hear him. I could hear everything. I could hear the last thread of loyalty snapping inside my chest. Doctor, Adrian Cole leaned into view, his eyes scanning monitors like he could will my body back into place. Adrian worked in the emergency department at my hospital. We had traded shifts, swapped dark jokes over bad coffee, and covered for each other when life got heavy. Sienna. His voice was steady. What happened? I held up my phone. My hand trembled so hard I almost dropped it. Adrian read the messages. His jaw tightened. He did not swear. He just breathed out through his nose like someone trying not to lose control. You have kids, he said softly. Twins. My throat burned. 3 years old. Mia and Miles. The sitter leaves soon. Give me your phone, he said. My battery is dying. He pulled his own phone from his pocket like it was already decided. Use mine. I did not cry. I did not beg. I went cold. On Adrian's phone, I searched for 24-hour emergency childcare. I called the first reputable agency with real reviews and a live human voice. This is an emergency placement, I said, forcing my words into clean lines. I need someone at my house within 30 minutes. 2 toddlers. I will pay whatever rush rate is required. They asked for a credit card. I gave it. They asked for the sitter's number for handoff. I gave it. They asked for confirmation that I understood the rate would be triple. I understand, I said. Send them. Adrian watched me the entire time, like he could not decide whether to be impressed or furious on my behalf. When I hung up, I handed his phone back. Can you screenshot those messages? I said, nodding at my own phone. Adrian looked at me for a long moment. Yes. He did it. Slow and deliberate, like evidence. The ambulance doors opened. Cold air rushed in. Bright hospital lights stabbed my eyes. And in that moment, I made a decision so clean it almost felt peaceful. If my parents and my sister could abandon me while I was bleeding out, then I was done funding their life. Done. Fully. Let that sink in. Before I tell you what happened 2 weeks later, the knock that changed everything, I want to ask you something. Have you ever realized that the people who call you family only love you when you are useful? If you have, stay with me, because what I did next was not loud. It was surgical. Now let me take you back to where it started. Growing up in the Ward household, love was never free. Love came with a scoreboard. My sister Blair was the golden child. 3 years older, beautiful in a way that made adults soften their voices. The kind of girl teachers praised before she even did the assignment. She walked into a room and my parents lit up like someone flipped a switch. When Blair said she wanted to become a lifestyle influencer and build a brand, my mother cried happy tears. My father called her a visionary. They bought her a ring light before she even had a plan. When I said I wanted to become a doctor, my father blinked and nodded. That is practical. That was it. Practical. Like I had announced I wanted to buy a vacuum cleaner. I swallowed it. I told myself it did not matter. I fought my way through undergrad and medical school with scholarships, loans, and sheer stubbornness. Then residency. Then the long nights where the hospital never slept, and neither did I. I told myself I did not need applause. But the favoritism was not just emotional. It was financial. And I did not see it at first because I was trained to fix what was broken, not question why it kept breaking. 8 years ago, right after I finished medical school, my father called me late one evening. His voice carried that specific kind of shame men use when they want you to rescue them without asking questions. "Sienna," he said, "we are in a bind this month. The mortgage is due. We just need a little help. Just this once. Just this once." I sent $2,650 USD that night. No hesitation. They were my parents. Of course I helped. Then, just this once became every month. The mortgage. Then health insurance premiums when my father took an early retirement package and acted like the universe owed him a break. Then the car repairs. The roof leak. The furnace. The unexpected property taxes. Always something. I never said no. Not once. When I got pregnant with the twins and their father disappeared halfway through my pregnancy, I called my mother from the hospital after a frightening bleed. I was terrified. Alone. Trying to keep 2 tiny heartbeats alive inside my body while mine hammered against my ribs. "Mom," I whispered. "Can you come?" She sighed like I had asked her to move furniture. "Oh, honey, we wish we could," she said. "Blair has a big event this weekend. She needs us. She is under so much stress." They did not come. Not for that hospital visit. Not for the birth. Not for the first month when I was nursing 2 newborns and studying for boards while surviving on 4 minutes of sleep at a time. But the transfers still went out. Like clockwork. I kept a spreadsheet. I do not know why. Maybe the rational part of my brain needed proof that I was not imagining it. Maybe I needed receipts because my family had a habit of rewriting history. By the time I was a third-year resident, the total was horrifying. 88 months of mortgage payments, insurance, repairs, loans that were never repaid, temporary help that turned permanent. It was around $348,000 USD, and they still called me a burden. If that number makes your stomach flip, you understand why the text message in the ambulance did not just hurt. It clarified everything. The surgery lasted 4 hours. A ruptured spleen, internal bleeding. The surgeon told me later that I had been minutes from a different outcome. I spent 5 days in the hospital. 5 days of morphine haze, vitals checks, and the weird quiet of being alive when you almost were not. Not one call from my parents. Not one visit. No flowers. No, how are you? No, we are sorry. The emergency nanny service cost me more than I wanted to think about, but they handled everything with professional grace. They coordinated with my regular sitter. They kept Mia and Miles safe. They sent me daily photos. Strangers showed up when my blood did not. On day 3, I asked for my laptop. My incision ached every time I shifted. The nurse frowned. "Are you sure you should be working?" "I am not working," I said. "I am surviving." I logged into my banking app. The automatic transfers stared back at me. Neat and obedient. I canceled every single one. Mortgage payment. Canceled. Insurance premium. Canceled. The little extra transfers I used to send just because. Canceled. Then I opened my phone settings and blocked numbers. My father. My mother. Blair. It was quiet. No dramatic music. No tears. Just the sensation of setting down a weight I had carried so long I forgot it was there. Adrian visited later that afternoon, carrying a coffee like he did not know what else to bring. "How are you feeling?" he asked. I looked at him and said the truth. "I feel better. For the first time in 8 years, I feel better." He nodded once, like he understood exactly what I meant. 2 weeks after I came home, I moved slowly through my kitchen. Still tender, still alive. Mia and Miles were at the table, coloring with sticky fingers. I was making pancakes because it was Saturday and I wanted normal. Butter sizzled. Maple syrup waited. The sun poured through my window like nothing had happened. Then the knock came. 3 sharp knocks, spaced like a warning. My heart stuttered. My hands went damp. I looked through the peephole and froze. A tall man stood on my porch in a wool coat, silver hair combed back, posture like he still owned every room he entered. Judge Everett Ward, my grandfather. I had not seen him in almost 3 years, despite living less than an hour away. My parents always had excuses. He was too busy. He traveled. He was tired. The truth was simpler. They kept him away because he saw too much. I opened the door. He pulled me into a hug so firm it made my incision ache, and I did not even care. "Sienna," he said, voice rough. "Let me look at you." His eyes swept my face, then dropped to my guarded posture. "I know," he said quietly. I swallowed. "Grandpa, He lifted a hand. "You do not need to explain. Eleanor told me." Eleanor, my great-aunt, my mother's sister. The only person in my family who ever looked at me like I mattered. Grandpa Everett stepped inside, and Mia and Miles ran to him like they recognized kindness on sight. He crouched, smiled, and let them climb on him like he was a jungle gym. Then he stood, reached into his coat, and pulled out a cream-colored envelope. "An invitation. My retirement gala," he said. "Next Saturday. The entire family will be there. The entire community, too." My stomach tightened. I do not know if I can handle that. He met my eyes. His were sharp, steady, the eyes that had held criminals and liars in place for decades. "You can," he said, "because you will not be alone." He glanced at my children, then back to me. "And because there are things that need to be said out loud." I sat with him at my kitchen table while he sipped coffee like it was evidence in a case. "Do you still have records," he asked, "of the money you sent your parents?" I nodded slowly. "Yes, every transfer." "Good," he said, like a judge stamping a document. "Bring them." My throat felt tight. "Grandpa, what are you going to do?" He leaned forward just slightly. "I am going to ask questions," he said. "And I am going to do it where they cannot hide. Facts have a way of speaking for themselves." I stared at my coffee, the surface trembling with my pulse. "What if they hate me?" I whispered. "The ones who matter will not," he said. Then he reached across the table and squeezed my hand, warm and solid. "And the ones who do never deserved you." That week moved like a storm building. I printed bank statements, transfer confirmations, insurance payments, repairs, everything. I organized it chronologically in a plain folder. No drama, no highlighted insults, just dates and amounts, like a medical chart. Aunt Tessa came over 3 days before the gala. She was blunt, sharp-tongued, and allergic to family lies. She flipped through the folder and her face went dark. "About $352,000 USD, she said flatly. "And they called you a burden." I pressed my palms to the counter. "I do not want to destroy the family." Tessa snorted. "You are not destroying anything. You are taking away their favorite weapon, your silence." That night I got a text from a cousin. "Blair has been telling everyone you are acting unstable since the accident. Just thought you should know." I stared at the screen until it blurred. Of course she was. Blair always controlled the story. She could not let truth walk into a room without trying to trip it. The evening of my grandfather's retirement gala, I dressed with careful simplicity. Navy dress, clean lines, no jewelry except my wedding ring on a chain around my neck. Not because I missed the man who left, but because it reminded me of survival. Mia and Miles wore matching sweaters. They looked like small, stubborn miracles. The venue was a historic country club with white columns and polished floors. People in suits and gowns floated under chandeliers. A string quartet played soft music that felt too gentle for what I carried in my bag. My parents stood near the bar, smiling like the world owed them applause. My mother wore pearls. My father looked relaxed, the kind of relaxed that comes from spending other people's money. Blair glided beside them in a dress so perfect it looked painted on. Her hair fell in glossy waves. Her smile was bright and empty. She spotted me and came over like she owned the air around her. "Sienna," she said, kissing near my cheek without touching. "We heard about your accident. How scary. Are you okay?" I met her eyes. "I almost died," I said. Her smile twitched. "My mom said it was minor," she murmured. "She was not there," I said. Blair's eyes hardened for half a second. Then she smoothed it away like makeup. "Well," she said, patting my arm, "you look fine now. That is what matters." She drifted away. I felt Mia clutch my dress. Miles pressed into my leg. Something in me went still, like the moment before a surgeon makes the first cut. 30 minutes into the gala, I heard Blair's voice rise near a circle of relatives. "I am so worried about Sienna," she said, loud enough to carry. "The accident really changed her. She has been saying the strangest things, cutting Mom and Dad off for no reason. It feels like a breakdown. My mother dabbed her eyes with a napkin. We have tried everything, she said. She will not respond. I think she is confused. She has always been sensitive. I felt eyes on me. Pity. Concern. That familiar, ugly suspicion people reserve for women who stop smiling. Aunt Tessa appeared at my side, her voice low. They are laying the groundwork, she said. They want everyone to doubt you before you speak. I swallowed hard. Let them. Across the room, Grandpa Everett stood near the stage, hands clasped behind his back. He looked calm, not angry, just ready. A chime rang. The music faded. A microphone squeaked softly. Grandpa Everett stepped onto the stage. The room quieted the way courtrooms quiet. Instinctive, respectful, alert. He looked out over the crowd and spoke with the ease of a man who spent decades commanding truth. Thank you for coming, he said. Tonight is a celebration, but before we continue, I need to address something. The air shifted. I felt my pulse in my incision. My father moved quickly toward the stage. Smile pasted on. Dad, he said into the microphone, laughing lightly. This is not the time. Grandpa Everett did not raise his voice. He did not need to. It is exactly the time, Gordon, he said. When lies grow in the dark, the only cure is light. My father's smile tightened. Grandpa Everett turned slightly, eyes scanning the room, then landing on my parents. I have been hearing concerns, he said, that my granddaughter Sienna is troubled, that she is confused, that she has turned against her loving family. He paused, just long enough for my mother's chin to lift, convinced the performance was working. Now, Grandpa said, I would like to ask a simple question. He faced my father. Gordon, he said, who has been paying the mortgage on your home for the past 8 years? A murmur rippled. My father blinked, caught off guard. What? He said, laughing too loudly. That is ridiculous. Is it? Grandpa asked. My mother's face tightened. We handle our own bills, she snapped. Grandpa Everett reached down and lifted a folder from the podium. My folder. He opened it. I have here, he said calmly, a record of 96 consecutive mortgage payments made from Sienna Ward's bank account to your mortgage company. The room went still. My father's hands clenched at his sides. That is a misunderstanding, my mother stammered. She offered. We never forced her. No one is claiming you forced her, Grandpa said. We are establishing facts. He flipped a page. Mortgage payments, he read. Total approximately $254,400 USD. A gasp. Someone whispered, oh my God. Grandpa continued. Health insurance premiums after Gordon's coverage ended. Approximately $82,000 USD. He turned another page. Home repairs, vehicle repairs, emergency expenses. Approximately $16,800 USD. Another page. Additional transfers labeled as help, temporary, and gift. Approximately $12,900 USD. He closed the folder gently. Total, he said, voice steady, approximately $366,900 USD. The room erupted into low, shocked noise, like a wave pulling back before it crashes. Aunt Tessa stepped forward, voice sharp as glass. For context, she said, she did this while finishing residency and raising twins alone. My father's face was pale now. My mother's pearls looked suddenly ridiculous. Blair stood frozen near the bar, her perfect smile gone. Grandpa Everett lifted a hand for silence. And now, he said, there is one more piece of evidence. He pulled out his phone. 2 months ago, he said, Sienna was in a serious accident. She was bleeding internally and being rushed to emergency surgery. She called her parents because her children were about to be alone. He looked directly at my mother. This is the response she received. I will read it exactly. My mother's mouth opened. No sound came out. Grandpa read the message, word for word. The same words that had burned into my brain. You have always been a nuisance and a burden. We have front row tickets tonight with Blair. Figure it out yourself. A stunned silence hit the room like a slap. Then voices exploded. Oh my God. That is monstrous. She could have died. My father tried to speak. We did not know it was serious. Grandpa's eyes pinned him. Did you ask? He said. My father swallowed. Did you call back? Grandpa continued. My father's throat bobbed. No answer. Did you go to the hospital? Grandpa asked. My mother started sobbing, the ugly kind, but it did not soften the room. It only exposed her. Blair finally found her voice, brittle and high. This is out of context, she said. You are making us look. There is no context that makes that acceptable, Aunt Tessa snapped. Grandpa Everett turned toward me. Sienna, he said gently, is there anything you would like to say? I had not planned to speak. I wanted the facts to do the work. I wanted to hold my children and disappear. But I looked at my parents, at Blair, at the crowd that had believed their story for years, and something in me rose up, calm and immovable. I handed Miles to Aunt Tessa. Mia clung to my dress, her little hands tight. I stepped forward. My name is Sienna Ward, I said into the microphone. My voice shook once, then steadied. And for 34 years, I have been trained to believe my needs were an inconvenience. I looked at my parents. I believed you when you told me Blair needed more support because her life was harder, I said. I believed you when you told me I could handle things on my own. My mother's face crumpled. But the night I was bleeding out in an ambulance, I continued, I finally understood something that is painfully simple. I paused. The room held its breath. I was not strong to you, I said. I was convenient. A sound came from somewhere in the crowd. A small, broken noise. I kept going. I did not come here to destroy anyone, I said. I came because my grandfather invited me, and because I am done paying for love that should have been free. My father lifted his hands like he wanted to stop me. I am not sending money anymore, I said. Not because I cannot, because I will not. Blair's face twisted. We are family, she snapped. Families help each other. I turned and looked at her. Where were you? I asked, voice quiet, when I was pregnant and scared. Where were you when I was up at 3 a.m. with 2 newborns and an exam in 6 hours? Where were you when I was bleeding out? Blair opened her mouth. Nothing came out. I looked at my parents again. I am not saying this to humiliate you, I said. I am saying it because the truth matters, and because my children are watching what love looks like. My mother reached toward me, trembling. Sienna, please, she sobbed. We did not mean... I am not cutting you off forever, I said, and my voice softened just enough to be human. But I need distance, real distance, and I need accountability, not excuses. I lifted Mia into my arms and took Miles back from Tessa. If you ever want a relationship with me, I said, it will be because you changed, not because I paid. The room was silent again, but it was not the old silence that protected my parents. It was a new silence, a silence that belonged to me. My parents left early. No one stopped them. No one rushed to comfort them. Blair followed, head down, like her reflection had finally turned on her. I stayed. People came up to me in small clusters. Cousins I barely knew, relatives who had believed the story that I was dramatic, difficult, unstable. I am sorry, one aunt whispered, eyes wet. We had no idea. That was the point, Aunt Tessa said beside me. They wanted no one to know. That night, after I put Mia and Miles to bed at my grandfather's guest room because he insisted we stay, I sat on the edge of a plush mattress and stared at my hands. They were steady, not because life was easy, because I had finally stopped bleeding myself dry for people who called it love. If you have ever been labeled crazy the moment you set a boundary, I want you to hold on to this. Truth does not need volume. It needs receipts. And if you are still here, I promise you the aftermath is where the real karma shows up. In the weeks that followed, my phone stayed quiet at first. Not because my parents respected my boundary, but because they were stunned. Then the financial reality hit. My father's mortgage payment bounced. The insurance premium lapsed. They tried calling from blocked numbers. Then new numbers. Then Blair tried. I did not respond. I set up a new budget instead. The $3,550 USD I had been sending each month went into a college fund for Mia and Miles. Every transfer I made now felt like a vote for my children's future, not a bribe for my parents' approval. 3 months later, Aunt Tessa called me. They are selling the house, she said. I sat down slowly. What? I asked. They cannot keep up with the mortgage. They put it on the market last week. I waited for satisfaction, for victory, for something loud. What I felt was exhaustion. Where will they go? I asked. Your uncle is letting them stay in his guest house temporarily, Tessa said. He told them they need jobs. Real jobs. My parents. Jobs. The idea felt unreal, like imagining the sun reversing direction. And Blair? I asked, because my chest still carried old habits. Tessa's laugh was humorless. Blair is flailing, she said. People talk. Her brand took a hit. Sponsors are nervous. Turns out character matters when money is involved. That night, I watched Mia and Miles chase bubbles in my living room. their laughter bright and careless, and I felt something new. Not revenge, relief. 6 months after the gala, my phone rang from an unknown number while I was brushing Mia's hair. I almost ignored it. Something made me answer. "Sienna," Blair said. Her voice was different, smaller. The polished confidence was gone. "Do not hang up," she said quickly. "Please." I leaned against the counter, feeling my heartbeat steady. "I am listening," I said, a shaky breath. Then words I never thought I would hear. "I am sorry," Blair said. "I am sorry for all of it, for letting them treat you like that, for laughing at that message when you were dying." Silence filled the space between us like a held breath. "What do you want?" I asked. "Nothing," she said, voice cracking. "I am not calling for money. I am not calling for you to fix me. I need you to know I see it now." I closed my eyes. "How did you not know?" I asked softly. "Because the truth was not complicated. It was ugly." Blair exhaled like the answer hurt. "Because I did not want to," she whispered. "I liked being the favorite. I liked that everything came easy." Her voice broke. "And now it does not." I let that sit. "Then start there," I said. "Stand on your own feet. Be better." "I am trying," she said. "Good," I replied. I hung up, and for the first time, I felt something like hope. Not because I trusted her, but because I no longer needed her to become good in order to be okay. 1 year after the accident, I stood in a new apartment 5 minutes from the hospital, in a good school district, with sunlight spilling across cheap hardwood floors. It was not big, it was not glamorous, but it was mine. No silent transfers, no hidden rescue missions, no buying my place in a family that treated me like a wallet. Grandpa Everett had become a fixture in our lives. Every Sunday he picked up Mia and Miles for adventures, which suspiciously involved ice cream and a level of joy my parents never bothered to create. Aunt Tessa became more than a witness. She became my anchor. Adrian stayed my friend, the kind of friend who showed up with coffee and silence and did not ask you to perform gratitude. As for my parents, I did not speak to them directly. I heard through whispers that my father worked part-time at a hardware store, stiff-backed and humiliated. My mother did bookkeeping for a small community center, the kind of work she used to dismiss as beneath our family. They were not thriving, but they were surviving, and that was the point. When I lay in that ambulance, bleeding and terrified, I did not just cut off money. I cut off the lie that my worth depended on what I could provide. If you take nothing else from this story, take this. Love is not a transaction. Love is not a reward for being useful. And if the people who raised you call your self-respect betrayal, then maybe they never deserved your loyalty in the first place. To anyone out there carrying a burden that was never yours, it is okay to put it down. It is okay to choose yourself. You are not selfish. You are not ungrateful. You are not a nuisance. You are finally free. And I want to ask you one last question, because I know someone will need to answer it out loud. If you had been in my place, bleeding and begging for help, what would you have done the day you got that text?